Welcome, lambs. Welcome to your midweek mini episode. For those of you who are new here, I am Kai with Love and Murder, Heartbreak to Homicide. In today's episode, we're talking about a man who allegedly killed his girlfriend by beating her with a toilet seat cover. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this episode and all my episodes are sponsored by my lambs in Patreon, patreon.com/love and murder. If you want to be a supporter of Love and Murder and to get extras, head on over to my Patreon and go ahead and sign up, patreon.com/love and murder. Let's get into this midweek mini. According to Washington D.C. police, at approximately 11:20 a.m. on Friday, February 22nd, 2024, Romaine Maddox, who was 36 years old, was discovered dead at the Ivy City Hotel in D.C. According to police documents, investigators saw that Romaine had several cuts, head deformities, and injuries from blunt force trauma. During the investigation, to obviously find out what happened, the hotel provided police with a copy of the ID of the person who came in with Romaine and CCTV footage. Now, according to the footage, Romaine had come into the hotel with a 59-year-old William Barrett on Thursday at 7:20 p.m. Then at 10:21 p.m., you can see Romaine leaving the hotel room completely naked, and then she's locked out of the room for 4 minutes before going back inside. Then on Friday at 1:06 a.m., you don't see anybody coming out of the room or going into the room. However, a pillow was thrown out of the room. Then, a short while later, you see Romaine lean out of the room, pick up the pillow, and bring it back into the room. 10 minutes later, you see Romaine walking out of the room only wearing a pair of underwear. And a couple minutes after that, you see a completely butt-naked William walk out looking around to see where she went. 4 minutes after that, Romaine walks back into the room. Then at 2:17 a.m., you see William throwing out Romaine's clothes and shoes out of the room. And 2 minutes after that, you hear a female's voice saying, quote, "Get off of me, help." So between 2:19 a.m. and 9:07 a.m., you see nobody coming in the room and nobody leaving the room until at 9:07, that's when William steps out and he's completely alone. Then continuing to watch the video, at 11:09 a.m., you see the hotel staff enter the room and quickly run out. And then a couple minutes later, at 11:20 a.m., that's when police were called. And they arrived to find Romaine unconscious and not breathing. First responders arrived at 11:28 a.m. and pronounced her dead. Now, while this is going on, police are doing a background search on William, and one of the officers recognized him from a prior arrest that year. So later that day, police went and arrested William for alleged homicide. When they went to pick him up, the arresting officer saw that there was blood on his head and his face. And after his arrest, when they had him stripped down just to check for any evidence, they collected his cell phone, his boxers, 2 pairs of gloves, and shoestring as possible evidence. All of these things also had blood all over them. Now, during questioning, William said that he and Romaine had been involved in a, quote, non-exclusive romantic relationship for about a year. He told police that what happened that night is that they had started arguing and she started hitting him. Quote, "She was running her mouth and hit me." So he did what any irrational person, man, anybody would do if somebody's hitting you. He walked out of the room and went and took a drive and let everybody cool off. I'm just kidding. He decided that he was going to choke her with his belt. So he took off his belt, made a conscious... Let me stop. He took time to take off his belt. And you know when you're mad, you're like, you can't get it off. So he made time to take off his belt, wrap it around her neck, and choke her with it. All of this could have been time that you spent going out of the room, walking out of the room, walking away, getting in your car, going for a drive, or even just going down to the hotel lobby, watching some TV down there. All of this time, instead of working on taking off your belt and doing all that stuff, you could have done that instead. Left. Anyways, so he said he choked her with his belt, and his belt was also taken into evidence. Quote, Barrett displayed how he accomplished this by elaborating through hand gestures that he approached the descendant from the rear while she was face down on the ground and got on top of her. Defendant Barrett stated that he thought he had killed her at that point. But then he realized he hadn't because she started calling out for help, and this surprised him. So, once again, he did what any rational person would do when, oh, I didn't kill her. Woof! That was a close call. Maybe I lost my mind the first time, so let me get up off of her, and now I'm going to leave the room and go calm down. No, that's not what he did. He decided, because he was shocked that she was still alive, he started to punch her. And he punched her until she stopped making noise. And because she, I guess after he had choked her, she was still alive, he became, quote, irate and went and got the toilet bowl lid, came back. Look, all this time you have the option to just walk out the room. Still hasn't walked out the room. He went and got the toilet bowl lid. He had to take the lid off. Do you know what you have to do to take the lid off of the toilet? All this time he could have calmed down. He went and took the lid off of the toilet and then just started beating her in the face several times with it. By the time the police arrived and they're surveying the room, in their notes, they said that the toilet bowl cover, the ceramic toilet bowl cover, was broken into multiple pieces. So, like I said, he was arrested and he is being held without bond. And he isn't set to go to court until March 11th for his preliminary hearing. What the crap do y'all think about this episode? What is wrong with people? He had so many options to go and calm down. Literally, all you had to do, it would have taken less effort and less time, and obviously less of the consequences for you to simply flip a switch, which is unlocking the door, open the door, and walk out. Even if you were butt-ass naked, that would have still been the better option than murdering somebody. Ugh. So yes, I do want to hear from you. What do you think about this case? And I don't even have a poll question for this one because what can I ask? What can I possibly ask about this? Some jerk was dumb enough to kill his girlfriend with, or he said not in an exclusive relationship. I'm sorry. He killed his non-exclusive girlfriend with a toilet seat that he probably had to take a screwdriver to unscrew. I'm not saying all of them are like that. It could have been a latch that he just took the toilet seat off. I don't know. But he had to stop, walk over to the bathroom, do whatever he had to do to take that toilet seat cover off. And I know it's not as simple as, oh, let me just unhook it here. It's not that simple. Walk back to her. So he had finished choking her, which takes effort, punching her, which takes effort, and then taking off a toilet seat, which takes effort. Then he came back to start beating her with it until it broke, all of which took effort. You know what doesn't take effort? Unlocking a hotel door, opening it, and walking out. What a moron. Anyway, so he's back in court on March 11th. And I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think about that craziness in the comments below. And speaking of polls, last week's Midweek Mini, I told you a case about a man who allegedly murdered his girlfriend over an onion argument. So then it was an onion. Now it's a toilet bowl seat that he murdered his girlfriend with. And my question was, do you think it was murder or do you think it was self-defense as he was trying to claim? And 100% of y'all said murder because duh. Obviously, I don't even know why he was trying to claim self-defense. And in the comments, Zenith said, I really love getting to know more about you. I can truly relate. I totally love listening to you. Maybe you could do some stories from South Africa. Zenith, I will totally look for stories from South Africa just for you and my South African listeners. I literally is just whatever comes across because I have like search parameters that automatically comes up every single day, and it's whatever comes up for me. But I'll actually go and look for anything in South Africa. If you have any cases that you actually want me to rant about, you can go ahead and email it to me at noconductradio@gmail.com. Juliet asked if this was a real Onion or the Onion, like the publication, The Onion, which publishes like satire. I believe that's what they publish. But no, if anybody else was wondering that, no, this was a real Onion. They were supposedly fighting over an onion. But remember, when the police came, they said there was no onion to be seen anywhere. So it was just weird that he even said that. Sarah Maza said, definitely murder. Christina Bobo said, I'm curious to know how he convinced her to go buy bleach. Very calculating to get the victim to buy the things that would be used in their demise. Now, I don't know if he actually made her go buy bleach. He said he did, but it could have just been him who bought it and then was like, well, she bought bleach for the first time ever. And it could have totally just been him who did it. Christina Bobo also says, thanks for sharing a glimpse of you at the end of this episode. I feel like a psycho because I'm deeply fascinated with you, a stranger, but I feel like I know you in real life. I just think you're an amazing person and I enjoy your personality. Thank you, Christina. I really, really enjoy your interaction, and I guess I will try and share more about myself, which is really hard for me because I really think like in reading comments from other podcasts, I do a lot of research and see, what people want to hear, what people don't want to hear. And a lot of time they don't want to hear about the hosts, so that's why I kind of veer away from talking about myself. Plus in real life anyway, I don't really talk about myself that much. So that's just not something I really do. So I basically told her like the gist of that. She was saying this in the After the Podcast Facebook group. So I basically told her the same thing I'm telling y'all. And then she responded with, I personally enjoy learning Kai facts, so please keep them coming. You always wait until the end so it adds value, but doesn't take away from the content that people tune in to hear. It's not like people are forced to hear you go on and on about yourself without getting to the story. Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's the Char days when Char would go on and on. But I mean, I'm really not dumping on her. That's just Char's personality. And I found it funny, but it was her personality. She would go on and I would make fun of her. But that's the earlier times in our podcast. And now it's just me and I don't really talk about myself, but I will try to do it just a little bit. And I'll try and keep it to the end of the episode. Sometimes if we are actually in the middle of an episode and something happens, like the episode that's coming out on Sunday, actually, there's a part in the episode where I had to pause and talk about something that was, going on in my life. But that's because it related to the episode. So, it's kind of in the middle. But thank you so much for your feedback, though. And for a way earlier case, a midweek rant, this was 2 unsolved murderous cases, Trinity Pogue and Jerry Lynn Roby. Stacey Adams asked, wasn't it her boyfriend's child? And Stacey, I remember which episode you're talking about. In my research, it didn't say it was her boyfriend's child. It literally didn't really specify whose child it was. But if it was her boyfriend's child, then that explains why she was with the child, because I was really wondering why she was with this child. And if y'all don't know what we're talking about, just go back and listen to that. It was a midweek rant. I don't remember from which date, but it was called 2 Unsolved Murderous Cases. You can just search for that. So thank you so much for your feedback, your comments, and keep them coming. Let me know what y'all think about this episode today. And in the meantime, that's all I have for you. Make sure you share this episode, share it in your social media, your Instagram, your TikTok, share it with your friends via text message, WhatsApp, email, share. That is definitely a free and easy way that you can help out Love and Murder. In the meantime, I will see you in the next episode. Bye.